All right, let's see it.
Yeah, I'm good.
So this is a rather naive and misguided attempt to try to gin up Mark of the Beast vibes in order to play on Christian anxieties about the Antichrist and the end times. And it is naive and misguided for two main reasons, but there are many others. The first main reason is that what's going on in this video that is more than 2 years old has absolutely nothing whatsoever to do with what is described in Revelation 13 verses 16 and 17 as the mark of the beast. Because what is described there is a charagma, a brand, a stamp, a mark that is etched, branded, carved into either the right hand or the forehead. And what's going on in this video is what's called Amazon One, which is just a scanner that scans the unique pattern of veins under the skin of your palm. And so you're not receiving, as the text of Revelation says, any kind of mark whatsoever. It's just scanning either your right or your left hand to determine what your vein palm fingerprint is, to tell if that's really you. So it's just a means of identification that uses your right or your left hand exactly as it already exists. There is no mark to receive. So this is not what is being described in Revelation 13. That's the first main reason this is naive and misguided. The second main reason is that there is no mark of the beast on the way, because Revelation 13 is not a prophecy about the future. It was late 1st century CE apocalyptic literature and imagery intended to evoke an emotional response in early followers of Jesus and exhort them to greater faithfulness to their community and to keep them unspotted from the evil Roman Empire. And the mark of the beast is intended to appeal to imagery associated with the Roman Empire. And there are three different main ways that it does this. The idea that it is something on the right hand or the forehead will evoke a sense of counterfeit worship practices, because in all the Bible and in early Judaism, there's only one thing that associates the hand and the forehead, and that is the notion that you should have the law on your hand and your forehead, and that results in the practice of phylacteries. And so there was a worship practice developing in the 1st century CE within Judaism related to putting certain texts of the Torah on little pieces of paper and rolling them up tight and placing them in boxes that go on the front and the back of the forehead and have a leather strap that goes around the left hand. And so the association of the right hand and the forehead evokes this idea of a counterfeit worship practice that would be associated with Rome. Now, another thing it evokes is the notion of a mark on the forehead, which was a way to identify people who belonged to an enslaver or a deity. And you can see this in the book of Ezekiel. There's a chapter where God says to go through Jerusalem and mark everyone on the forehead who is outraged about the wickedness and the iniquity that is running rampant in Jerusalem. And then God sends executioners through the city, and they are to execute anyone and everyone who does not have the mark on the forehead, because the mark is a way to identify who is a follower of God, who belongs to God. And so it's also evoking that notion of fidelity to a specific deity. Are you a follower of the God of Israel, or are you a follower of the imperial deity? So that's also being evoked in the concept of the mark of the beast. And then the idea that you cannot buy or sell without the mark evokes the idea of Roman coinage, which carries the face or the mark and the name of the emperor. And that is something that would be exchanged with the right hand, and you could not buy or sell in the Roman Empire without that mark. So those are the three main ideas that are being evoked by this imagery of the mark of the beast, and it is entirely confined to the late 1st century CE. The book of Revelation is not about today. It is not about any point in our future. There is no mark of the beast to look out for. Nobody needs to be anxious about any of that. We can put that behind us, and we can grow the hell up and get on with trying to make the world a better place for everybody. And the fit for this video.
Hey, Shalom. I'd like to start out by giving all glory, praise, and honor to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of the great millstone. Shalom to the elect of Israel. This is Thamayim in Atlanta, and you just saw Dan McClellan on the screen there talking about how there's no MOTB on the way, and that the book of Revelation pertained to the past and not the future of what's to come, even though it's within its name, the revealing. When was Yahweh Shai revealed? In which also his name is not Jesus. Call yourself a scholar, but you're calling him Jesus. You should understand at this point that his name couldn't have possibly been Jesus. And you should also understand that the book of Revelation has not happened yet. But let's get straight into the scriptures. I'm going to go to Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes 1 and verse 9. The thing that hath been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun. No new thing under the sun. That alone should end your argument that Revelation hasn't happened. And just because something has happened once doesn't mean it can't happen a second time or a third time. There's no new thing under the sun. And so yes, this the mark had tried to be implemented in the past, but that doesn't mean it can't be implemented in the future. And also it goes back to the all. That's what the elite are trying to do, enslave the entire world through a modern digital all. And the all is old, but this is a new type of all, or a modern day all, A-U-L. But this is the book of Revelation, chapter 2 and verse 25. But that which you have already hold fast till I come. This is the truth, the spirit, the Lord's word, this new song that is being sung. Verse 26, and he that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations. It's not the end yet. We haven't seen the end. We haven't seen many prophecies come to pass. It's not the end. Book of Revelation has not completely occurred. Some parts of it have occurred, but many have not. We're not at the end. And ultimately, you're not understanding that Rome fell and was built back up. It was born again, rose back up. So Revelation 13 and 3. This is in the book of Revelation, which you're basically saying happened already. It says, and I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death. This is Rome falling, and his deadly wound was healed. It fell. The Dark Ages happened, and then via the Renaissance, the Edomites rose back up and built their power structure again in a reiteration of Rome. This is that beast with 7 heads and 10 horns, which is now made up of NATO and the EU. There's no new thing under the sun. The thing that hath been is that which shall be. And it says, and all the world wandered after the beast. Rome fell and rose back up. And that is the same that has to fall when Yahweh Shai returns. Let's book of Revelation 19 and verse 10. It says, "And I fell at his feet to worship him, and he said unto me, See thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant, and of thy brethren that have the testimony of Yahushai. Worship the Most High, for the testimony of Yahushai is the spirit of prophecy." And Dan McClellan does not have the spirit of prophecy. It's a gift given by the Lord. And that would, if he had the spirit of prophecy, he wouldn't have dared to say that there's no MOTB on the way. It's basically the final test, and he's trying to say we're already at the end by saying that, saying what he said. It makes no sense but it makes sense to you because he doesn't understand. It makes sense to him because he doesn't understand prophecy. The end still has to come. There's still prophecies to be met, like Jacob's trouble. That still hasn't come. The battle of Armageddon still hasn't occurred. Where are the 144,000? When was death and hell cast into the lake of fire? When was the war in heaven? When's the judgment of Babylon? When was Babylon judged? When did the Euphrates dry up? And when was the man of sin revealed? On and on. There's too many things that haven't happened for you to say that the book of Revelation already happened. It speaks of these things. This book of Revelation, chapter 21 and verse 4. "And the Most High shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death." There's still death in the world, which shows that the book of Revelation has not happened yet. Once Yahushua returns, he's going to save his elect. They're going to be transformed into new bodies, having the law, statutes, and commandments within them, and will be gods. They will be immortals on this earth who never go off from the will of the Father ever again. But we don't have that. We don't have any immortals on this planet. It says, "And there shall be no more death, neither sorrow," no more sorrow for the Israelites, in which he probably, I don't know where he stands on this, but probably considers the small hats in the state of Israel to be the people. They're in sorrow. They're being attacked. They're at war. It says, "Nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away." This is all still happening. I'm going to jump up to 1. And it says, "And I saw a new heaven and a new earth." That word for new is kainos, which goes into a refreshing. And so when was the earth refreshed? It says, "For the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea." I don't recall any of this, or never read it in a history book. "And I saw John, and I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from the Most High, out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband." When did Yahushua and the elect join? And it says, "And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, Behold, the tabernacle of the Most High is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and the Most High himself shall be with them and be their power. And the Most High shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away." We're still in the same polluted earth, full of death, full of war. What are you talking about, Dan McClellan? What are you talking about? Revelation 20 and 14. "And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death." People are still dying. We're still in hell in this polluted earth. The second death didn't occur. It's nuclear hollow H. It's a complete reshifting of this earth, just like the flood. The second death didn't occur. What are you talking about? Let's keep going, and we can stay in the book of Revelation. Revelation 18 and verse 10. Standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city Babylon. Which place is Babylon, Dan McClellan? That mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. When was Babylon judged? It can't be Iraq, because people still live in Iraq. When did this happen? Jumping over. Revelation 16 in verse 12. And the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up, that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared. When did the Euphrates dry up? Verse 14, for they are the spirits of devils, working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth, and of the whole world, to gather them to the battle of that great day of the Most High Almighty. When did this occur? When was the great day of the Lord? When did that happen? Because these things have to happen. It's the spirit of prophecy, and prophecy comes in measures, and they all have to go down in their proper order until the end. And then we'll have a new heaven and a new earth. But these things have not occurred yet. It says, and you're just saying we're just living here in this squalor and nothing's going to happen? What about the return of Yahweh Shai? Like, why even read the Bible if you're not putting hope into a whole new world? Revelation 16 and 16. And he gathered them together into a place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon. When did the battle of Armageddon happen? Or the battle of the valley Yahweh Shaphat. When did the Lord judge these nations? Didn't happen yet. It's really silly argument. And then when as well, Revelation 11 and verse 11, because you have to going here, because really these people that aren't Israelites should not be breaking down the Bible. These are, I don't know if he's an Edomite. I'm not going to call him Edomite. He seems he's got a zeal for the book, so I'm not going to just call him an Edomite, but he is deceiving. He's telling people that the MOTB won't come. That's the final test, and people need to be prepared for that within their minds on how they are going to turn that down. That's that part of meditating terror, even upon yourself. You need to meditate on this to know to say no. And he's basically disregarding that and telling people to break the Lord's commandment. But yeah, if you're not an Israelite, you should not be speaking on this book. It's not given unto you to speak on, and you're not going to break it down correctly. You're just going to be adding and taking away, which, in this book of Revelation tells you that your portion will be taken out of the book of life. But going into the Israelite thing, thinking of Romans chapter 9, the giving of the law by the Israelites. But when did the Great Awakening occur and the new song go all around the earth, and then the end come? These things have not happened yet. But Revelation 11 and verse 11, and after 3 days and a half, which goes into 350 years, the Spirit of life from the Most High entered into them. These are the Israelites, the elect of Israel, standing back on their feet after Jeremiah 17 and verse 4 occurred, where the Lord took our heritage, knowing who we are, took it all away from us and had us scattered to serve our enemies. But he's returning that heritage unto us, pulling us out of those graves that we were in, and having us stand on our feet. It says, the Most High entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them. And this is all of the other nations, including some Israelites, because some Israelites don't want this awakening to happen as well. They want to stay with Esau. They want Esau to keep ruling, but all these nations are in fear seeing the Israelites stand on their feet, because they know that that's their judgment, that's their kingdom going down. And it says, and they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, come up hither. This is the deliverance. When did the deliverance occur? And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld them. I'm going to keep reading. It says, in the same hour was there a great earthquake, when did destruction occur? And the 10th part of the city fell, and in the earthquake were slain of men 7,000. That's completion. And the remnant were affrighted and gave glory to the power of heaven. When did these things occur? That's a silly notion to say that the book of Revelation is only dealing with the times of the Romans. This is the time of the Romans. The reincarnation of the Romans, which are Rome's basically a people before it's a place as well, dealing with the Edomites. The Edomites haven't been taken out of power yet. It's just a silly argument. Book of Revelation has not occurred yet. We do have to look for and prepare to not take the MOTB, which is the RFID micro CHIP. What he was saying in the beginning at first with biometrics, that is not the MOTB. He's correct on that, but there is still a device that they want to put into you that you need to be mentally prepared to not take if you want life. And so, Lord willing, that was edifying. I'd like to give all glory, praise, and honor to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of the great millstone. Shalom to the elect of Israel. Shalom.